Folks, there's a thesis ripping through crypto Twitter that I can't stop thinking about. Basically, it argues that the easy money era in crypto is over. Not cooling off, not on pause, just over. And because of that, a lot of people are saying that retail investors like you and I should just pack it up and go home. Now, I'll be honest, when I first saw this thesis, it kind of shook me. Because when you look at their points, it's not easy to argue against. After all, ICOs did get regulated out of existence. Airdrops got industrialized. Meme coins became a rug economy. And the suits like BlackRock, Fidelity, and so on have basically taken over the space. So, point is, I get why people are nodding to this thesis. But after sitting with it for a while, I realized that while the bears are right that the easy money era is over, the conclusion they're drawing that retail should leave because the opportunity is gone, well, that part is totally wrong. Now, I'm gonna explain and defend my view, but first, we gotta start with the bear case itself, because honestly, it's stronger than most people realize. So the crux of their argument is that most speculative, easy money periods in history last around 3 to 7 years. Tulip Mania was about 3 years. The California Gold Rush was about 7. Japan's bubble was about 6. And the dot-com bubble was roughly 5 years of euphoria before the Nasdaq crashed 78% and took 15 years to fully recover. Now, as for crypto, you could argue that our easy money era kicked off with ICOs in 2017. Then we got DeFi summer, NFTs, airdrops, then meme coins. And if you add that all up, you get roughly 8 years of easy money, which is already past the historical average. But yeah, every single one of those sub-eras were exploited to death. Take airdrops as an example. In the heydays, people got life-changing money for just doing a handful of transactions on a new protocol and chillin'. But today, you got sophisticated farming syndicates running thousands of wallets, automating transactions, and optimizing for every known eligibility rule. So the scrappy, curious individual lost while the bots won. And a similar story played out with ICOs, NFTs, meme coins, you name it. So the bears saw all this and concluded that crypto is simply following the exact same arc as every other speculative boom. Easy opportunities got exhausted, industrial players came in, regulation closed the easy exits, and us retail were left holding the bag. I think Simon Dedek summed this up beautifully. He wrote, and I quote, "Cycles are dead. There won't be a 3-month mania anymore where everything 100x's and your barber asks you about altcoins. It'll be stablecoin volume quietly doubling, RWA TVL hitting 100 billion without a single CT thread going viral about it. The casino won't reopen." And then he ended his post with this line, which I really want you to hold on to for the rest of this video. He wrote, quote, "Do yourself a favor and grow up, or you're better off just leaving." So yeah, that's the bear case, and I'm not gonna pretend like it's weak, because it's not. Every single piece of evidence they cite is real. But here's where I start to disagree with them, because the bears are making one big mistake in particular. But before we get there, I wanna share something I came across recently that actually surprised me. So we've been hearing about use cases for real-world assets on-chain for years now, right? And I think most of us just assumed it was one of those eventually things that never really shows up in a usable way. But turns out, it's already here. I started working with Wisdom Tree Prime, and it's basically a fully built version of what that idea was supposed to be. It's a single hub where you can find tokenized funds, hold crypto, stablecoins, and digital gold all in one place. But more importantly, it actually connects you to your other on-chain and fiat assets. You've got access to 8 different chains, native bridging so you're not relying on third-party tools, built-in stablecoin on-ramps, and the ability to off-ramp into your own wallet. So instead of stitching together a bunch of different apps, it actually feels like one environment built to live on-chain. And that's the part that stood out to me. It's not just access, it's how seamless it is. You can actually start building an on-chain portfolio with real-world exposure without needing to be an institution or jump through a bunch of hoops. So yeah, this is one of those things that's a lot further along than you may have expected. And if you want to check it out, there's a promo running right now. Just deposit $250 and you get $50 in BTC. Terms and conditions apply. Links down below in the description. Alright, back to the bears and the big mistake that I think they're making. You see, they look at the end of the easy money era and conclude that the opportunity is over, that retail's time is up, that we should just all go home and do something else with our lives. But easy money and opportunity are not the same thing, and conflating them is one of the worst mistakes an investor can make. One clear way to see this is by looking at the one historical analogy the bears often bring up but almost always misuse: the dot-com era. You see, the dot-com story is not the story the bears imagine. I mean, yes, the Nasdaq crashed 78%, it took 15 years to fully recover, and Pets.com and hundreds of other names went to zero. All of that is true. But here's what the bears leave out. You see, the internet did not die after the dot-com bust. In fact, the post-bust internet arguably produced the single biggest wealth creation event in modern history. It's just that the wealth didn't go to the people who bought Pets.com at the top. It went to companies like Amazon, Google, Facebook, and Netflix, and a huge chunk of that was actually accessible to regular retail investors, if they stuck around. Just take Amazon as an example. If you bought Amazon near its post-bust low, you'd have more than an 800x return today, from a price that any retail investor could have accessed in their brokerage account. Or take Google, which is maybe an even better example given how retail-friendly their IPO was. When Google went public in 2004, they deliberately used an auction-style IPO because they wanted the process to be fair to smaller investors. They explicitly wanted to break the usual Wall Street pattern where only big institutions got the good allocations. But yeah, a retail investor who bought Google at the first day public close and held it through today, they got over 100x return. So when the bears say, look at what happened to Pets.com, retail got destroyed, well, they're cherry picking, because the full .com story is that the retail investors who stayed, got more selective, and identified the real winners, well, they got filthy rich. But another key point here is that the turning point for all this wasn't 2015 when Nasdaq finally reclaimed its 2000 high. The turning point was actually 2003, just 1 year after the bottom. You see, the Nasdaq gained 50% in 2003 alone. That's when the real recovery phase actually started showing tangible returns, which means the people who left tech investing in 2002 because they thought it was over, well, they made the single biggest mistake of that cycle, because the real generational wealth was created soon after they left. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying that crypto is guaranteed to follow the same path. Nobody knows that for sure. But if you're using the .com comparison, then you at least have to honor what it actually teaches. And that's the fact that the biggest wealth in a technology cycle gets built after the speculative frenzy ends, not during it. And the investors who stayed and got selective absolutely won. So point is, if crypto really is at its .com 2002 moment right now, then leaving is the exact opposite of what you should do. But actually hold on here, because I want to get nuanced for a bit. I think the answer of what you should do actually changes depending on your motivations. You see, if you were only here for the quick 100x gains and the easy airdrop money, well, that game is over. It's not coming back. And if you keep chasing it, you're probably gonna get wrecked. But if you're here because you actually believe in the underlying properties of crypto, I'm talking programmable money, open finance, and things like that, then leaving right now would be the single biggest mistake you make this cycle. Because somewhere in the background right now, the Amazons and Googles of crypto are being built. Maybe it's perps and on-chain derivatives. Maybe it's real-world assets. Maybe it's prediction markets. Maybe it's the intersection of AI and crypto. Or perhaps it's something nobody has even invented yet. After all, nobody was really talking about DeFi in 2017, and nobody was talking about prediction markets seriously before 2024. So the next wave almost always comes from somewhere unexpected. But yeah, my point is, the skills that won in the 2017 to 2024 era are actually going to work against you from here on out. Back then, you won by being early, aggressive, and tolerating insane volatility. You bought anything, you farmed everything, and the rising tide lifted all ships. But in this next phase, you win by being selective, patient, and actually doing the research. You have to identify the specific winners while most of the crowd is still arguing about whether or not crypto is over. But yeah, honestly, that's not gonna be easy. It's gonna require a completely different skill set than what most of us built in this last era. But that's also why the opportunity exists, right? And the whole reason why .com 2003 was a generational entry was because most people had just been scared out of the market. But anyhow, that's where I land on all this. My take is that the bears are right that the easy money era is over. But they're dead wrong that the overall opportunity is over. And if you leave crypto because of their thesis, I genuinely think that'll be the biggest mistake you make all cycle. Let me know what you think about this though. Am I being too optimistic here? Or does the .com comparison actually resonate with you? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, don't forget to check out WisdomTree Prime by using my link in the description.